Hey, welcome to Just Ranked. Yes, it's me again. I'm back.
Creepiest intro ever.
I'm back as your host. And you, of course, know the rest of the guys. We have Chris, Joe, and Jimmy. I like to start with the old creepy intros. But yes, we are back. And we are now weekly, if you hadn't noticed. So that's a big deal. This week's topic is anyone? We lost everyone.
Oh, what happened? No, I screwed it up again.
Oh, we're all back. There we go. No, that's fine. We'll just fucking roll with it.
Yeah, I missed the memo on names. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
we're off to a roaring start. We've drank too much.
Oh my God. You had me laughing so fucking hard.
This is the worst intro ever.
Hey,
the Just Rank boys are here. We're coming at you with episode 4.
Oh, man.
And the topic is 90s soundtracks. 90s soundtracks.
90s soundtracks.
Yes. What? Not songs this time. Entire soundtracks.
What?
As a whole.
In the hole.
Yes.
In the hole.
In the hole. One? Get in the bag. All right. So this was a relatively easy one to do compared to our last episode with the opening tracks, 90s soundtracks. I found it a little bit easier, but I can't speak for the rest of the guys. So we're going to roll it out and get right into it so we don't have a 4-hour episode like we have in the past. And who's starting tonight?
Me.
Joe's starting tonight.
Joe's going first.
Sloppy Joe.
Okay. Yeah, I thought this was going to be easy, man, because every time you Google 90s soundtracks, like 40 soundtracks show up, and you're like, okay, that's all right, 40, but okay, there's like 9 years in that decade, whatever, 10 years, whatever. And also, so my number 2 was not even there until like an hour before the show.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Because it came out in 1998. Because I'm like, there's this one song. Was it early?
You motherfucker.
Yeah. And I'll just give a clue, a little tease, if you will. One of Jimmy's favorite bands. Anyhow, so I'm going to start off. I don't think anyone's going to have this soundtrack. My number 4 one is one from my favorite movies of all time. Is That Thing You Do. I love this soundtrack. It's a great album on its own. You don't have to listen to the or watch the movie. All the songs are original for the movie. They all sound like they're written for that late 50s, early 60s genre, because some of the songs are for the artists who are like older and they came from the late 50s, and some are from like, in the mid 60s, and they all very much sound of the time. So I love that. I love the soundtrack. Some of my favorites on the soundtrack are the rockabilly, like "Lovin' You Lots" by, of course, it'd be like the Wonders, but that sounds straight out of the mid 60s. You of course also have That Thing You Do, which is the title track, and people hated the movie because they heard this song so many times. But it's like, give me a track. They're a one-hit wonder, get it? So you're gonna hear that song a few times. But it's a very good song. It really is. It's very hooky.
Tom Hanks, right?
Yep. Tom Hanks was the one of the writers. He was a director, and he's obviously one of the actors in the movie. But my favorite song on the soundtrack is "Little Wild One," which is probably my it's also probably my favorite track, along with "Dance with Me Tonight." It's almost like an early Lennon Beatles track. Again, it's very of the time. Every song is very separate from one another. They try to capture, I think, different periods of the time. So I love that part. And also they got the Supremes knockoff of "Hold My Hand, Hold My Heart." It's from a fictitious female band on there, and it's very Supremes-esque. But probably the standout is one of my favorites. I'm a big instrumental guy, and it's the instrumental by the fake band, very in the theme of the Ventures, a song called "The Voyage Around the Sun" by the Saturn V. It's just a little quick, like 60s, surf rock. instrumental, very cool.
Dick Dale kind of thing.
Yeah. But again, very melodic because I'm big on melody, but very melodic. You can almost hum along with the song. But again, every time I'll listen to the soundtrack on its own because it's so good. I'm a big sucker for the movie. My kids grew up with the movie. My wife loves the movie. It's one of those staples in our household. Just on the movie itself, if you watch the movie, I suggest the extended cut because there's certain parts that makes more sense of some cut subplots. But it's what's that?
Was the plot super deep?
No, maybe it's like about one hit wonder, but there's some outskirt plots of certain sub characters that with the extended version makes more sense. That's all.
I saw, to be honest, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because this is a great choice because this was not even on my radar.
I'm with you. Same.
I
guess in our house, it's a staple. I mean, I think Tom Hanks is a big thing because Apollo 13 is a big thing in our house too. But that thing you do, it's one of those movies like Star Wars for me. I can watch a billion times, and it's just that comfort food type of thing.
Yeah, I've probably seen it once, if that even. I don't like it. That's why.
Really?
As soon as you said it, I was like, "Wow, that's interesting."
So good.
I've seen it a couple of times, but it's been 10 years. Easy.
And the soundtrack is so good. All the songs are original. Like I said, of the day, and Jimmy's laughing his ass off. Ron sounds nothing.
I think
like
Jimmy's just gonna laugh through this episode.
Sounds nothing like Dockin.
Hold on. You just said that thing you do is comparable to Star Wars.
I'm saying it's like comfort food.
Well, I didn't catch that. Hold on, I didn't catch that.
Here comes the internet.
Right.
Jimmy's
it's okay.
No, not
Don't
the internet.
worry.
Right here. I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan, but are you? What?
I like it's comfort food.
It's okay because I'm covered by favorite
like
90s
a rainy
soundtracks.
day. It's that movie or that
You just laugh behind the banner.
You bastards. God damn it. You guys take all the fun out of this shit.
No, that's cool. Like I appreciate that it's a family staple and stuff. I really should refamiliarize myself with it because I really don't remember it at all. Like that's how.
See,
that makes it a great pick, right? Rather than we're gonna have a bunch of crossover.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not even that. Don't even watch the movie. Just listen to the music. If you like the
I will because I like music.
Mid-60s era music. It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah. Well, as you alluded to, that thing you do, the song was everywhere, and it was like, oh my God, finally I'll watch it. You sang me into watching the movie.
I mean,
the radio or Joe?
Was that?
Was that the radio that did that or Joe?
Because it was everywhere. Everywhere you went, that song was on the radio commercial.
And you went over to Joe's house and it was playing in the background.
It suffered from that overkill for a lot of people, right?
Joe, you went over to visit Joe. He had it playing. I'm like, oh, you're watching that movie again.
Well, it's got soundtrack and the movie going at the same time. This is great.
Well, I thought we were watching Star Wars. I guess we're watching that thing.
This is better, man.
Same thing, man.
You heard what I said. It's better.
Fuck, that was gold.
Okay. That being said, brings us to number 3, which is Batman Forever.
Oh wow!
I knew that was
not a very good movie. It's not even the best Batman soundtrack because everyone knows the best Batman soundtrack is Batman '89 with Prince.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
say that.
But this is the one with U2 and Seal and
yes, you're right there.
Yeah,
so
it's
it
good.
contains one of my favorite U2 songs,
really
which is "Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me."
Yeah, hold me.
I didn't even think of that album, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Again, it's one of those. It's not a great soundtrack as a whole, but for me, I love these 2 songs so much, and I'll get into the next one so much why. But it contains my favorite U2 song, which is, like I said, is "Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me, Kiss Me," or "Kiss Me, Kill Me." I love that song. But the big thing is I'm a big fan of Seal.
Guess who's back?
I will say this. We'll get this, and I think it's probably in another future episode, but Seal didn't name his first 4 albums. So there's the Seal 1, Seal 2, Seal 3, Seal 4. So this references Seal 2. It also contains the song "Kiss from a Rose."
Mm-hmm.
And this song is very special to me because that song is also on Seal 2, which I consider the perfect pop album. Like that album is not only a perfect pop album, but very complex as well. I mean, there's time signature changes, there's key changes. That album is just beyond what pop deserves, right? But for me, being a huge Prince fan, not a lot of people know this, but there was a duo in the Prince and the Revolution, Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman, that were part of the Revolution, that actually were the main musicians on Seal 2, and which was part of Kiss of the Rose. So if you're fortunate enough to listen to Wendy and Lisa's solo stuff, Seal 2 very much sounds like Wendy and Lisa's solo stuff. It sounds nothing like Prince. It's got some hints in there, but it sounds nothing like Prince. It's very jazz influenced. It's very different key signatures, different timings. For those who don't know, Wendy Melvoin was the one that made Purple Rain what it is. Prince played in very plain chords like G7 and stuff like that. She's the one to give it the very interesting chords because she came from a jazz background. If you don't know, Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman, their parents, or their two dads, were part of the Wrecking Crew, which were their studio musicians of thousands of albums from the late 50s through the 80s. Right. Very accomplished musicians. But part of this is, like, I would say a Dink 3B would be that same year, they had another soundtrack come out from Toys, which starred Robin Williams, and that soundtrack contained a song called "The Closing of the Year," which contains Seal as well. It's a Wendy and Lisa song, but Seal sings like the second half of the song, and it sounds again very much like Seal 2. It's a Christmas-esque song without sounding Christmas. It's an amazing song. To this day, I listened to it yesterday. Puts goosebumps on my my arms when I listen to it. It's amazing. So just for those two songs, I would just say Batman Forever.
Now, again, without being an established or a deep Seal fan,
yeah,
is Seal 1 the one with Crazy?
Yep.
Yeah. Love Crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Seal 1 is very much a very intro to him, and then Seal 2 is if you listen from beginning to end, it's to me it's like I said,
I like Seal. I should maybe check out more of his stuff. Like,
I should listen to more of his. I was just gonna say, I forget how good he is until you hear
when you hear something by him and you're like, oh yeah, that was good.
Like, never mind.
Well, the musicianship.
The musicianship alone. Yeah, I mean,
the Seal albums is top notch.
Yeah.
As somebody who's not a musician, I don't feel comfortable judging somebody's musicianship sometimes.
Yeah, it's tougher when you don't play. I agree with Chris on that.
I think I judge musicianship just on the ability to write the song. So I don't want to be that musician stuff like, well, he's such a great musician. There's great musicians out there.
Oh, I love his voice. I just like the way he sings. I like the sounds. And I forget how good he is until you hear him again. I don't have that much, but when I listen to him, I'm like, fuck, he's really good.
Yeah. Seal 2 is he's got other stuff too, but Seal 2 is perfect from beginning to end.
Well, what I meant by the musicianship, not necessarily the actual players. I mean, I do mean the actual players, but like you listening to the music is extremely that da 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 da. Just how it's put together and how it flows and all of that, regardless of the skillsmanship, whatever. It's really fluid music. It's really layered. It's really textured. And so the musicianship is just amazing.
Yeah. It's like I said, if anything, I implore you to if you don't even listen to Seal 2 from beginning to end, find on YouTube, because it's very hard to find the song Closing the Year by Wendy and Lisa. Listen to it. I promise you will not be disappointed, because from beginning to end, it's surprises, again, key changes, those two voices along with musicianship and the music itself along with Seal's voice is perfect, man. It's amazing. Even he said, I wish he would go back to use, imploring Wendy and Lisa, because even he said that was his best album and they were a big part of that. So
yeah.
Number 2, like I said, number 2 was not even on there a couple hours ago. And then guess what? I found out, I was like, did that song come out in early 2000s or late 90s? They came out in 1998. And you guys have this album, but it's Godzilla.
Oh, wow.
1998. It contains
nice.
the very good cover by the Wallflowers of Bowie's Heroes.
Right.
It contains, well,
is that Diddy's?
You
Puff
got
Daddy's version.
Yeah.
Come with me with cashmere. Yeah.
Yes, that's some Vaseline or baby oil covered cashmere.
Yeah, baby oil shit going on there.
I have a note on that. Diddy was paying Sting, I think it's like $1,000 a day for life.
$5,000 a day.
$5,000 a day for life to use
Every breath you take.
Do you want to know why? Because they recorded that song, they released it, put it on the radio, and they get someone going, "Oops, we forgot to ask Sting." So Sting owns that song. Puff Daddy earns no money from that song. It's all Sting owns that song.
None.
That's awesome.
For life.
For life.
For life. As long as Sting is alive, he's getting $5,000.
All Sting needs is that song and Wrapped Around Your Finger, which Annie Summers got fucked on, but that's a different episode.
Sting also got a lifetime sponsorship from Jaguar, so he's getting paid for life from Jaguar.
Yeah, let's face it. Everyone wants to grow up to be Sting. Who doesn't want to live in a castle? And
he's pretty cool. He is
Sting
pretty cool.
songs.
Right.
But also it contains the Rage Against the Machine, No Shelter. It contains Untitled by Silverchair. We should do a show on songs called Untitled. Because I know
so you can have a Zeppelin Force.
Exactly, a Zeppelin 4. But then you got Silverchair, you got The Cure has Untitled, you have
Alanis Morissette.
There's another one of those bands I forget about.
Collective Soul. Yeah. But it also contains one of my favorite songs from one of Jimmy's favorite bands, the Foo Fighters, A320. This is not a very well-known song. It's not even in the movie. We've lost Jimmy. My plan has worked. But Dave Grohl famously said it's the one regret he has in life was giving up that song for the soundtrack. It's the first time the Foo Fighters brought in outside musicians. They brought in Peter Hayden from that dog to play violin. Brought in what's his name? Bremont Tesh from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers to play the Hammond B3 organ. And it's a very, very good album. It's almost a progressive type song. It's not even sound like a Foo Fighters song.
That's
but
a good thing.
That song I love that song. It's amazing. It's going to be my top 10 of all songs. And at least the top 5 for Jimmy.
Right. Yeah, I got to ask, I think we maybe skimmed over this on one of the other episodes. Well, what is your deal with the Foo Fighters?
What is your deal, Jimmy?
Joe or me?
You.
Oh, wow.
What's your beef with Dave Grohl? Dave's listening. He wants to know.
Right. Well,
he's the one man keeping rock.
It's always drummer related, right? Like, I get, right?
On.
I get the Billy Joel. I sort of get the Eagles. Explain the Foo Fighters.
Okay, there's 2 answers, and the second answer I'll tell you during pre-production another time. Right. But the first answer is
off-camera stuff, but yeah.
Right. The first answer is fuck. It's everywhere.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But
I get
also, okay, on the positive side, Dave Grohl's a badass drummer. He's been in 2 of the biggest bands that has ever been. That's a huge thing that barely anyone can ever say.
Right. No one can say it. I think he's the only one.
Most of the whole Foo Fighters thing is, it's not that I don't like them. It's more of a jest that I have with him. I jab him with George Lynch. He jabs me with Dave Grohl. So it's just been something fun that we've done for 15 years or whatever it is.
No, that's fair.
I would say this. if even if you don't like Foo Fighters, listen to A320 because again, a weird title. I don't even know what a reference is. I suppose I should have looked into that, but it's such a good song. It's like it's almost a progressive song because it's so complex. My number one, I'm fearing is going to probably show up in a few other lists here, which is the 90s. You think of the 90s when it comes to movies and soundtracks, you think of singles. I will say it's probably the best one. I mean, it contains Alice in Chains, it contains Pearl Jam, Paul Westerberg, the Love Mongers, of course, Mother Love Bone,
Paul Westerberg, right?
Paul Westerberg, baby, hometown boy. But
Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, like
one of the best songs ever, Crown of Thorns, man. Andrew Wood and Mother Love Bone. I mean, those guys were the only single crossover band that was glam and grunge.
Yeah,
they were the only band, and we'll probably come up with these guys and talk about them again in a later show. But obviously, with I will say "Seasons" by Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
so one of the best songs ever written, probably his best ever song. One of the best grunge songs, if you want to use that term. Again, if I just went off just single songs, it would just be that one song, "Seasons," and it has so much more.
I don't know. I really, really, really love the Love Mongers version of Battle of Evermore on that album.
Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Yep. And for you, those who don't know who the Love Mongers are, it's pretty much Heart.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, it's Heart.
But who still probably have done the best live version of Stairway to Heaven ever.
Two things in that video clip: Yo-Yo Ma rocking out and fucking him crying. Like,
I mean, there's
unbelievable.
Are you talking about the Kennedy Center honor?
Yeah.
There's another. Excuse me. There's two things about that struck me. I've actually cried watching that, and I've showed my kids, and they say, "Oh, this is the song you cry at," because part one is Jason Bonham is playing the drums.
Yep.
Okay, and he honors his dad, and he sends love to everyone, and the choir is wearing the bowler, the infamous bowler that John Bonham wore, and to me that was overwhelming, and it's amazing. And Ann Wilson, God bless her, does a fucking amazing job on that.
Dude, it's so well thought of. Whoever produced that live version of it, it just gets bigger and bigger, and then it just fucking explodes and gets even bigger. I mean,
every time I watch that, I get goosebumps.
Me too. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking of it, dude. It's so fucking good.
Absolutely. That's why I said it. I'm getting them right now.
Yeah.
How would you have liked to have been the opening band for that? Like, fuck.
Right.
No.
Or the band coming on after them.
How do you follow that up?
You don't.
Right.
No, you don't fall in, and it's like Heart's the top 10
I just go home.
Band for me. I fucking love Heart.
That was the best. I'm going home. You can't do any better than that. I'm going home.
In an effort to keep this episode shorter, I will say I was going to have two honorable mentions, but I'm going to tell you, man, when you think you know until you know, and you do these researches of lists. And so my honorable mentions from a movie called Judgment Night.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about this movie, and
it's a great soundtrack.
Yes,
and the movie's actually enjoyable too.
I love the movie.
I know I saw it way back in the day. I have probably haven't seen it since then, but I've completely
seen it a few
this
times.
And I forget about the whole hook. The whole hook, which was like, let's take one rock act with an R&B act and just smash them together.
Yeah,
it was, and that was so cool. That's why I liked it so much. Yeah.
For those who don't know, you had Helmet with House of Pain. You had Ice-T with Slayer, which was the big one everyone knew about.
Yeah.
Faith No More with Booyah Tribe. You had Cypress Hill with Sonic Youth, and yes, Cypress Hill with Pearl Jam, which is obviously Pearl Jam with music and them just rapping over it or whatever. The best, and a lot of it's not very good, but the best song is probably Living Color with Run DMC. Like those two were meant to be with the song Me, Myself, and My Microphone.
Yeah.
Very good song. And like those two acts were meant to be with one another. But this soundtrack, I completely forgot about until I started doing the research. I'm like, what? I forgot about this.
Yeah, it was on my short list, but it didn't make it. But yeah, totally.
chocolate and peanut butter, smashed them together.
Yeah.
And some of it worked. I mean, when you have Cypress Hill with Sonic Youth, I mean, just who comes up with this idea? It's awful. But
Right.
I mean, the execution's not so bad.
Yeah.
I may or may not have notes on this soundtrack coming up.
Weird. The other one I was going to throw out there, somebody else might have too, it's actually, I thought it was me higher up on my list. It was, I think, number 2 at one point, but then it kind of fell off. And then it was my alma mention. And then I found Judgment Night and reminded myself about that. It is Reality Bites.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Again,
Reality Bites guys thing, it's got the Lisa Loeb thing with the one hit wonder and all that thing. And that's really what it's known for. And the resurgence of My Sharona. But I think the other ones kind of outdo that one. So
yeah, that's same with me. That's why I didn't make it. It just dropped off because you're right. Like and in fact, the movie, when they play the knack when they're in the gas station, that part's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, even the video, because I remember the knack had a big resurgence at that point with the video and everything else. Yeah,
yeah.
So that's my list.
And it's U2's on there as well, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, it's a pretty good list, man. Like I said, I'm gonna have to revisit at least your thing you can do.
And one other thing too, just check out Bed of Roses off of a Reality by the Indians. I forgot about this band, man. They're so fucking good.
Like a Bon Jovi cover?
Was that?
Like a Bon Jovi?
No, not a cover. It's their own song. I mean, how many songs are called Bed of Roses, but by the
you shouldn't be covering that song.
No, but it's so good, man. I forgot about the Indians.
French kiss the morning. Fuck off.
Who's that by? Sorry, Joe. Who's that by? Who does that? Better
Indians.
By who?
The Indians. Yeah, check them out. I forgot about the Indians. A great
Indians.
I don't know if they're Indian or not, but I know it's a female-led band. They're so good. They have a great, unique alternative sound of the day. So,
right. Well, they have since changed their name to First Nation.
Oh shit! Who does that? Indians.
It's a bunch of white chicks.
Oh shit! That was funny.
We're going to hell. And canceled.
All right, so that puts you up, Chris.
Oh shit! Sorry. All right. So my number 4 is Natural Born Killers.
Nice.
Right? That was on my list.
I mean, I don't have a lot to say, but like, it's got Leonard Cohen. It's the first. Actually, it's introduced me to anything that Leonard Cohen. I didn't know anything about Leonard Cohen. I didn't know who he was. That was the first time I heard anything about him. So it took me into his like books and his poetry a little bit. But I mean, Cowboy Junkies, that version of
Sweet Jane.
Sweet Jane.
Yeah,
I love that version of Sweet Jane.
It's very
that
good.
Is so good. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. And on top of it, I really like that movie.
Yeah.
The movie is good. Like, and people have forgotten about it now. It was pretty big deal when it first came out.
It was, yeah.
Violence,
well,
right?
and to see Woody Harrelson in that kind of a role, like he was Woody from Cheers, and he done some comedic stuff. Like to see him like that was unreal. Like he did such a good job in that. But I remember listening to that soundtrack a lot, driving around in people's houses, whatever, just different songs from that soundtrack. Especially though that Cowboys Junkies version of Sweet Jane is for me.
90's Something I Can Never Have is in my top 10 favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
And
really top 10 of all time.
Yeah. It sits at like number 7 or 8, right above Leather.
Of course you haven't memorized.
I'll give you the list. It's right above Leather and Lace.
Right. It's not number 86.
No, it's in the top 10. I love that song, and it's on a soundtrack, obviously. So it was hard to not have, much like last week when I threw in at the Hip and Alice in Chains in my honorable mention. It's hard to not have something that has one of your favorite songs of all time on it. But I'm glad you got it because it didn't crack my 4 when we get to it. So it's good.
I'm sorry for those of you watching this on video. This is why you call Chris the president. Us 3 are fucking with our names, and Chris is just Chris.
Well, I'm usually just Dink, and I thought I would.
Like, did I miss the fucking memo? Am I supposed to have a nickname every show?
As per my last email, change your name.
I didn't even notice until you brought that up.
I'm Dick Fritzwell.
Hey, I changed mine because a listener said, "Hey, I want you really badly to do one of these bands." So I changed my name on this episode to Cinder fucking Rella.
Yeah, that's perfect.
On cold winter, baby.
Just to go back to my list to Natural Born Killers for a second, I forgot, and it just for some reason it triggered something. It kind of turned me on to L7 too. The shit list is on there by L7.
Yeah, dude. That's
and
right.
then I saw them later at a fucking festival, and they blew my mind. And
They're
not a
fucking
big
good live, man. They're
metal
so
guy,
good.
but they were really good live. They
Yes.
were on like a Lollapalooza or something that I went to at Molson Park in Barrie, and they were really good. And that was the first time I had ever heard of them. Was on that soundtrack.
Yeah, they're so good live.
They were not in Minneapolis. They were not a Minneapolis band, but they based themselves out of Minneapolis for a long time, and they did a lot of stuff with the Minneapolis band called Babes in Toyland. So they were kind of synonymous.
So we claimed them.
I think I may have seen Babes in Toyland in the same festival that I saw.
Probably, yeah, you probably did. Most likely,
they were on one of those open.
Babes in Toyland's famous member is Liz Phair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I love her too, and her role in that 70s show.
I like some of her. I like some of her too.
Oh,
and
that's where I know her from.
She's pretty creative with her. Doesn't she have a single? But she initials it, but it's really Hot White Cum. Is that Liz Phair?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Now we're canceled.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you said L7, before you go on, Chris, it's not on my list. I hope it's not on anyone else's list, but I just thought of one. What's the movie? I can't even remember the name of the movie, though. What's the movie with Drew Barrymore and Chris O'Donnell?
Oh, fuck.
Purple Rain.
Right.
No.
Can't Buy Me Cum.
Can't Buy Me.
You want me to Google it real quick?
No, no. When you go on your next one, I'll look it up. But I think L7's on that soundtrack too. It was a kind of a questionable movie.
I'm pretty sure it was I went to a bunch of those Lollapalooza festivals, and I'm pretty sure it was one of those that they were on. And I think Babes was there too.
Well, they were a staple of the Liz Phair.
Yeah,
or not Liz Phair. Lilith Phair.
Mad Love. Remember that movie? Mad Love.
Mad Love.
Oh yeah.
I believe I'll have to look at the soundtrack.
Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah. That's what I said. Are you mocking me, man? That's what I said. I know that's what you said. I think L7. Oh no, it's 7.
I'm a bit of an NCIS geek. I love Chris O'Donnell.
Sorry, it's 7-year bitch. It is not L7. It's the wrong 7.
Oh. Way to go, Richard Fitzwell.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I brought up the wrong 7.
Thanks, Dick.
Thanks, Dick Fitzwell.
All right. So my number 3 is Wayne's World. 97.
That was on my that's in my top.
One. Okay.
It's got Alice Cooper. It's got Queen. It's got Jimi Hendrix. It's got the Chili Peppers. I mean, it's got. What do you mean? I mean, again, it's one of those ones where I got into it.
Forgot about it.
Years after the movie, I just came up on a playlist one time, or it was YouTube, I think it was, and I started listening. I'm like, this is a really good fucking soundtrack. And when we went into it, I started looking at stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man, I think I have to put it on there because there's a lot of songs on there that I really like.
Do you know the one thing that was kind of disheartening when I was researching this? You look at a list of 90s soundtracks, and of course, you look at 3 or 4 because they're all different. And they forget other soundtracks. It's how few are actually available on streaming.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, a lot of them I had a preview on YouTube because someone made a playlist because it's just not on streaming anymore.
Or partials, like Spotify will have it, and then it's like missing a few songs. Like
I think
when I get to my list, but it's like fuck.
Well, and it varies from country. When I'm in the States, there's different songs I can't listen to than when I'm in Canada.
Oh, really? I never even think about that.
Yeah, Reality Bites, the entire soundtrack shows up. The only one that's playable is one song. It's some artist I've never heard of before.
And we don't have that problem here with that one.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, I have a partial.
You have a what?
You have a partial? A semi, if you will?
I've seen it.
Oh no. Naked and Afraid.
Again, I don't know where to go from here.
Go to your number one.
I've got a number one for you.
Oh my God, you are the
Well,
creepiest
since that was
man
number
in this
3, maybe I'll
episode.
go to number 2 first, and then I'll
Go to number 2.
Go number 2. Just watch out for number. What do they say? Watch out for.
Break out the pair.
Be number 1. Just watch out for number 2.
All right. Well, my number 2 is The Crow.
Nice.
I saw that too. Yep, that was on my list.
And again, it's going to be because I remember listening to it so much, driving around with friends or at somebody's place, and Stone Temple Pilots, Helmet, Pantera, The Cure. It went number 1.
Pantera song is a cover song.
Yeah, there's a couple of cover songs on there. Absolutely.
Yeah. STP, The Big Empty, the Cure, Burn. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Helmet, I love Helmet.
I do really like The Cure a lot too. Fuck.
All right, and
Yeah,
we're going to
dude,
talk
sure.
about it because it might be coming up later. But yeah,
We can do
I can just, when I get to my list, we can skip real fast. But
We
yeah,
need to
there's
do the
another
Cure,
cover
I
on
think,
there
sometime
that's
as well.
fucking Dino, which is the 9 Inch Nails cover of Dead Souls, which is a Joy Division song. So good. Like, that is on my list strictly for that song alone.
Yeah.
And what's that?
Dead Souls.
Dead
Oh.
Souls by 9 Inch Nails. But it's a cover. Yeah.
It's a Joy Division song, or a New Order song before Ian died.
Right. And I learned that from you, episode 1.
Did you, or during
Yeah,
trivia?
he didn't know that Joy Division.
Oh,
became,
maybe it was trivia.
Yeah,
it was trivia.
I think it was during trivia. Yeah.
So, folks, before we did this show, we used to do a trivia show just amongst friends, and we decided, let's make a show about this, and because we think everyone else would like to watch it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a perfect.
To be
segue,
honest, we
right?
thought like 6 people might like it.
Right. And little did
One
we
person
know
in
we'd be getting
Argentina, another one in Spain.
South American people tuning in.
But also what they don't realize is those trivia nights were 7 fucking hours long.
7 glorious hours.
Oh yeah,
my
I'm ready
God.
to do another one whenever. But yeah, let's
Like episode 3 was.
Yeah.
So drunk. All right,
7 hours
let's hear
long.
number 1, right? Number 1, that's where we are.
singles. My number 1 is singles.
It's hard to give. I mean, it's such a good fucking soundtrack, man.
It's such a good
Yeah.
soundtrack. Do you know? I forgot this, but when I researched it, it was released almost 3 months before the movie was released.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Like there's so many good songs on there. There's so many good. I don't know. I like the
Joe went
movie a
over
lot.
them, a lot of them, but we
Also, you guys know I love 90s music. It's one of my favorite genres. It's where I started to really get into music.
Sure.
There's a lot of bands and a lot of songs, a lot of artists from there that I really love. So obviously, I think for me, it was a no-brainer. Anybody who knows me knew I was going to pick this.
yeah, and
number
we didn't
1.
talk about Screaming Trees when you were rhyming all yours off, Joe.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You nearly lost me.
yeah,
Another band I saw in concert that were amazing. They were really good in concert.
yeah, totally.
Right on cue,
Look,
baby.
Yeah,
with
hard
the
to argue with
singles-
that, Chris. Like,
What?
Go ahead.
I said, hard to argue with singles with 90s.
One
Singles.
of the cool songs on that album is the Jimi Hendrix song. Was
Yeah.
it "May This Be Love"? Yeah, "May This
Yep.
Be Love."
Yep.
What I thought was really cool about that song is that song was 30 years old at
Yeah.
that time,
Right.
and it really kind of embodies the grunge sound.
Yeah,
So
it does.
Right.
So
What
beautifully.
you call the grunge sound. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I have a personal connection to the movie because at the time, and Jimmy was too, but we were both in bands in Minneapolis coming up, and gaining in popularity. But that movie encompasses Minneapolis because Minneapolis was known for its R&B sound and the Prince sound, essentially, the Minneapolis
And
sound.
thrash, but yeah.
And very heavy thrash, but mainly, the Minneapolis sound. And then Seattle was kind of up and coming. And so it's kind of battle thing. But I will tell you the two dramatic difference between Seattle and Minneapolis. And
Heroin.
Cameron Crowe, who wrote and directed the movie, knew exactly what that was. And that was when they're doing the review, they're reading the review in the newspaper of the band. And Matt Dillon goes, well, just leave me, just tell me the good parts. And it's just like silent. And they had some camera on the newspaper. It says, if you pause it, it says, I forget his name, but the lead singer should move to Minneapolis and get lost in the masses. I'm like, it's true, because the difference between Minneapolis rock at the time and Seattle was they all bound together because like if so-and-so makes it, I'll make it. And Minneapolis is like, fuck you and fuck you. I'm going to make it. Fuck you guys. Where in Seattle, they all bound together like, hey man, they're best of friends. They all knew they were better together.
Live together and
hung
out. Like,
see, that's hilarious to know now because I had no connection to Minnesota then. Now having a connection to Minnesota, I'm like, holy fuck, that's hilarious. Like,
yeah.
Well, I have a personal, like extremely personal connection to Singles. Matt
Cameron
Dillon
Crowe touched you. Show us on the doll where he touched you.
No, what I was saying is Matt Dillon's my 32nd cousin. We share this much blood.
Well, that's my final thing on Singles is it has State of Love and Trust by Pearl Jam, which is my favorite Pearl Jam song.
It's a good,
by far my favorite Pearl Jam.
It's a lost gem. Yeah, it really is.
Right.
Very lost.
And it was not like a played, like it wasn't radio played Pearl Jam song.
Nope.
I didn't get killed like Jeremy or.
Well, I think the only radio friendly song or the only radio played song was Wood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Yep.
Which is a great song, but when it comes off in chains, probably not my top 5.
We used to play that live. Wood. Yeah, it was a great song to play live.
The last time I played drums was playing Wood with you.
Was it really?
Yeah.
With him?
With me?
This
makes great audio. This makes great audio.
So singles is the same Z. All right.
But here's the deal, though. Cameron Crowe was smart because he knew music was like the foundational of the emotional part of a movie. So I think he was ahead of the curve. That I think it's gotten lost in movies. I think until James Gunn came along with the Guardians movies when it comes to music, because it's either throwaway or it's not even thought about. You know.
Well, isn't his wife Nancy Wilson?
It was, yeah. They've since divorced, but yeah, they were married. Yeah.
All right, so my honorable mention is Romeo and Juliet soundtrack.
Nice.
Yeah, that was my top 10 too. Yeah, great.
That was in the top 10.
Yep.
That movie, I actually love that movie. I love the absurdity of that movie.
Yeah,
yeah, and ballsy. It was really ballsy to take that and do what they did with it and make it modern.
Absolutely.
Right,
and there's some
a
really
bunch
good
of
music
meatheads saying, crazy Shakespearean lingo, and it didn't work, but that's what made the movie work.
Yeah, along with the music.
What do you think of the Prince cover on that, Joe?
Well, okay, it's a great you put. I'm very touchy when it comes to that.
I figured that's why I'm asking.
Which now, since he's passed, I'm all for covers because it keeps his legacy going. Because he was so poor at it when he was alive, he wouldn't allow things on YouTube and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. I mean, if people listen to it now, it keeps it alive. I'm all for it. I'm trying to be more open-minded about it because, again, Prince was the first one to cover somebody's music, but he hated when somebody else covered him. I mean, there was a famous song with Foo Fighters. They didn't need to, but they wanted Prince's okay to cover Darling Nikki for one of their albums, and he said no, and so they put it as a B-side. And they didn't need his approval. They could have just done it anyhow, but Dave Grohl wanted his approval. But yet the irony was during the Super Bowl, he covered the Foo Fighters.
Right.
I mean, I'm all for it. If you can keep a legacy alive somehow, now that I'm older and wiser and less hair, it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. You're very hairy in other places.
Well, only you know that. and my wife.
These guys have seen each other's package, Chris.
We're talking about my nipples.
Oh, like you haven't seen mine.
They're glorious, President.
POTUS.
We're revealing a lot on this.
If you needed another honorable mention, Pretty Woman is also up there for me, actually.
Wow.
But,
that's King of Wishful Thinkings on that, isn't it? Go West.
Yeah, it is. Not
Nice.
necessarily that song, but again, I really like that movie. I don't know why, but
My wife
probably
loves the movie. I don't.
when I
would
picked
say,
when I picked the soundtracks, it was more about not necessarily the songs, but how much I like the movies. Really.
well, again, I guess when you watch the movie, the songs make part of that emotional part of the movie.
Maybe that's why I don't like a lot of the newer movies as much.
Right.
Music
Well, if
wise,
it's not
yeah,
Fitzwell, your favorite Richard is probably Gear. So
Well, also too though, even if you just take like orchestral music, like you have John Williams, which I consider like pop orchestral music, and you have like Alan Silvestri, who is kind of like it's unintrusive. There's no real melody, but it's atmospheric. You can't hum it, you can't remember it, but
that's
it
true.
adds,
I didn't even look at any of that stuff. Like I don't even know what was released then. I just looked at stuff that was like pop or rock music that I listened to. Right. I even looked at it. No, not even that. It was soundtracks that I remember listening to a lot.
Sure.
I bought, purchasing, buying, listening in my car, listening at home by myself. That's what it was. But anyways,
pretty good list. Singles is the front runner. So Jimmy, what do you got?
Oh yeah,
all
sorry.
right.
I'm really bad at segueing to the next person.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm a little upset. I'm a little sad because I thought I was going to blow you away with Judgment Night as number 4. No, actually, what's really cool about this soundtrack or album, whatever you want to take it from, every one of these groups, these duos, whatever you want to call them, they were the precursor to nu metal. And what was so fucking cool about that is this album would not have happened without Aerosmith and Run DMC doing Walk This Way. And a lot of people thought that that Aerosmith was going to kill their career doing Run DMC Walk This Way.
Their career.
But it saved them because they were in the tank. And another really cool note about this is what is it? Sonic Youth in Cypress Hill. They did a song. Sonic Youth went in and did their song, and they didn't know what was going to happen to it and who it was going to be meshed with or nothing. They were trying to sue everyone under the sun. They were already in the process of breaking up and getting back together and breaking up again. They were so pissed that they were put with Cypress Hill because Cypress Hill talked about gun violence and Sonic Youth was very anti-gun violence. So they were pissed off about that. So, I mean, I think we all talked about that. I missed something. This album.
Me too.
No, man, I'm loving what you're saying. I'm just off in my own little world. I was laughing at something else. So go ahead, man.
Are you thinking about how creepy you opened this show?
Hey guys, welcome to our show.
No, I guess got the giggles there for a second.
It's okay.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying. I was trying to nod yes, but then I
Dick, are you okay? Do we need to call 911? Are you all right?
Oh yeah, get me some air. Fuck.
My last note on that is this soundtrack entered the Billboard charts top 200 at 17. So
I didn't know that it charted even.
Charted at 17. So
I remember when it came out, the big thing was Slayer and Ice-T was a thing. I remember that song.
Yeah, that's kind of what I remember too. I remember listening to the whole as a whole, but yeah, I didn't know it charted that it had that much. Because I always thought I'm glad it got brought up because it didn't crack, but it was definitely on my list. I always thought I was the only one listening to it because no one else was talking about it really.
Same.
Maybe you and I talked about it, Chris, but I don't remember anyone else ever mentioning it.
I forgot about it until I holy shit, I forgot about this.
But to open at 17 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that
for a soundtrack.
As soon as you mentioned 90s soundtrack, I knew that was going to be on my list at some point because it made such a big impression to me. Doing the research on this, I thought this was going to suck. because okay, there's 4 songs with music or 4 soundtracks with music in it, and there's a shit ton of music in the 90s from movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have something closing out with that, but I mean, there's some really fucking killer shit. And leading me to number 3, Encino Man.
Oh, nice.
1992, Pauly Shore.
Did not make my list.
Pauly Shore sings your greatest hits.
Right.
I like Pauly Shore. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
So I am so happy that this is not a samey, because you had a band that I really love that a lot of people don't know is Scatterbrain. They did an LL Cool J Knock You Out.
Yeah.
Sacred Reich, big metal band. They did American Way. Steve Vai had a instrumental called Get the Hell Out. There are 2 kind of metal-y kind of songs on here that maybe only Joe will understand, but The Scream, do you know who the singer for The Scream was? John Corabi.
Oh, that's right, John Corabi. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
nice.
Yep. And there was a little band made a little wave called T-Ride. Their guitar player, Jeff Dyson, he is a disciple of Satriani. Satriani talked about him for years and years and years, and unfortunately nothing ever happened out of that. Queen, Stone Cold Crazy. How the hell could you not love that song?
Oh, yeah, when they covered the Metallica song.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and then there's that, you know, kind of fabled song, Vince Neil, You're Invited But Your Friends Can't Come. There's another song on here.
Like, so.
Edgar Winter Group, Frankenstein.
Nice.
I'm going to name off a bunch of movies that Frankenstein has been in my David Letterman top 10 list. Wag the Dog, Dazed and Confused, Air America, My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, Air America, dude. One of my favorite movies.
Wayne's World 2.
Yes.
Tropic Thunder, and Paul Blart 1 and 2.
Wow.
That Edgar Winter Group, Frankenstein, has been in all those movies.
Now, Wayne's World 2, is that when Tia Carrera does
yes, Bliss? She's got 2 songs on that album. Yeah. And
Robert Downey Jr. movies on that.
There's one more song that really needs a huge boost in this. We all love this song, but it's Let's Get Rocked by Def fucking Leppard.
Nice.
Let's get rocked.
There we go.
Get on top, baby.
So yeah,
I love Def Leppard. That song is awful.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with Joe on that.
Yeah, in any way, any of the guys from Def Leppard hear this show, I'm sorry. You guys are amazing. You're legends. That song's awful. And your
the video is annoying too.
It's probably better than any of my one best songs. I'm just saying, let's get rocked.
Well, they're not extraordinary, average, everyday fools. Like,
right? They're not. They're not.
The only song worse than that would be Tesla's "A Last Action Hero."
Oh, it's coming.
There may or may not be a reference to that.
It may be coming.
All right, so I'm gonna go to number 2, and it's "Last Action Hero."
Last Action Hero.
With. If you didn't hear 30 seconds ago, Tesla, Last Action Hero, horrible song. But Last Action Hero has 2 songs by Alice in Chains. One of them is clearly better than the other. What the hell have I?
It's dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Megadeth, Angry Again. Love this song. You got AC/DC, Big Guns.
Big Guns.
Queensryche.
Real World. Nice.
Yeah. And the movie is just goofy enough to make it funny, and I really like the soundtrack a lot. This is probably one of my favorite soundtracks. Besides,
the irony is Tesla's one of my top favorite bands of all time, top 5 bands of all time. But
I adore them.
That song is, and I've seen them, I swear to God, like 14 times. I've seen them. They're so good live. I saw them last year twice. But that song is awful.
Yeah, that's maybe their worst song ever.
It is.
It's the only bad song on the soundtrack.
It's not good. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously a song for the money.
Yeah, it's more related. It's more like the movie itself because the movie.
I'm sorry, Jeff Keith.
Oh, he's so good though.
He's so good, man.
No, I mean, I love Tesla. I saw them at one point. I saw them 3 nights in a row. They opened up for Def Leppard, and it was just fucking amazing.
I saw him 2 nights in a row in the same tour. I seen him 3 times. The first time I saw him, all 3 times were with they opened up for Poison.
Yeah.
Oh, they steal the show from Poison.
I think the funny thing is when I first saw them, like, oh, these guys will go nowhere. They look nothing like the other bands. They look like a bunch of guys off a farm,
bunch of truck drivers.
Yeah, then they blew them off the stage, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
All right, so
probably like Paradise.
All right, so to speed it up again, my number 1 is I hope, Dink, you don't have this, but it's Can't Hardly Wait, 1998.
I do not. Nice.
Exactly. I'm going to list some songs. Are you ready?
Go.
Okay, so Eve 6 has 2 songs on there. Barry Manilow has 2 songs. This band right here, Kingdom Come, one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite bands. Get It On.
Get It On, great song.
Zombie, More Human Than Human.
Nice.
Young MC, Bust a Move. Run DMC, It's Tricky.
Oh, yeah,
D-Light, Groove is in the Heart, which I love this
Groove
song.
in the Heart. Yeah, it's a good song, man. Bootsy Collins.
Yeah, absolutely. A song I fucking hate and loathe, Nazareth Love Hurts.
Oh,
Love Hurts.
I'm with you. I hate that fucking song so much.
Not a great. I mean, yeah.
James Gang, Funk Number 9, Sublime, Crispy Down, Parliament, Fleshlight.
Oh yeah, baby.
Flashlight.
Boys Did you say Flashlight?
He said Flashlight, people.
He did say Fleshlight.
So, Jimmy, tell us about your hobby.
Well, let me tell you about what's going to happen after this.
OnlyFans, flashlights.
Yeah. And another Minneapolis
reference,
the replacements, Can't Hardly Wait. I mean, Busta Rhymes, Creed, Dire Straits, Third Eye Blind.
Holy shit, I don't know how I missed this. This is way better than I remember.
Yeah.
G-Love, Special Sauce, Smash Mouth has 2 songs.
Is this like a double album or what?
311, Blink 182. Yeah. Can't Hardly Wait, 1998. Seth Green, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jason Segel, Jamie Presley, and Donald Faison.
No.
This wasn't even on our radar. Good catch, man. Because
not on my radar either.
Me neither. 100%.
Right.
Tits McGee there with Jennifer.
This is way better than Judgment Night.
That's what I was gonna say.
So my 2 honorable mentions. My 2 honorable mentions are Gross Point Blank.
Well, that's
Let It
Whip. How did I forget about that?
Let It Whip by the Daz Band. Pete Townsend, Let My Love Open the Door. Queen and David Bowie, Under Pressure. Faith No More with their original singer, We Care a Lot. Motorhead, Ace of Spades. The Clash had 2 songs. Violent Femmes, Whisper in the Sun. And my other one, just because I'm a metalhead, is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Richie Kotzen, Steve Vai.
I almost had that was on my short list. Yeah.
Megadeth and Faith No More.
Yeah.
I am so happy that 2 of those are not going to be in anyone's list.
No.
By the way, Faith No More does not count without Mike Patton. I'm just going to say it's
Correct.
Correct.
So,
all right, speed it up to get me done here. I'll start with number 4. Thankfully, it hasn't been mentioned, and of course, it's a lot of classic rock. It's a double. It was 2 CDs, so it's a long soundtrack, but a long movie, and that is Forrest Gump. Tons of good stuff on the Forrest Gump soundtrack. Seeger, CCR, Aretha, like Elvis, like it's classic, right? It's all classic stuff. And of course, we all know the movie. So
the best part of that movie was the soundtrack.
Yeah, the movie's good, right? It's not
good.
It's not that thing you do staple at our house, but I won't turn it off.
I will say this: Jenny is one of the most unheralded evil villains of any movie.
Yeah, she's right. Like if ever you were happy somebody got the HIV, like
right?
No shit.
Sorry, Jenny, you fucking bitch.
I'm dying and I need help, but I guess I'll be with you now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's my kid.
Holy fuck,
Right.
the negativity is just unreal.
Jenny took a real hit there.
Right.
Poor Forrest. But anyway, I like the soundtrack. I'm sure there's somebody else on there that I'm missing. Three Dog Night, like there's a bunch of old classic stuff, and it plays great to just throw on a Sunday afternoon without having to put the movie on and play the soundtrack.
Yeah.
On along those same lines with my number 3, it's not a double, but there is 2 releases, and that is a movie that I've seen more than any other movie, and Chris has seen it a bunch of times with me, and that is Dazed and Confused. Love the soundtrack and the even more Dazed and Confused release that came out the following year. But we've all seen the movie 100 times. There's a game that you can play that Chris and I and our buddies used to play, and that's you watch the movie and you smoke one every time they smoke one. So that explains why I've seen the movie so many times, because for a while, our buddy Chad, who you guys have met, him and I played the game every night for a good stretch. So that was cool.
And
I've heard those songs
there 75% of the time. I was probably
you were there a bunch of times for sure. But yeah, of course, we all know Nugent, Kiss. But it's really I find with that soundtrack, it's the bands you kind of forget, like Black Oak, Arkansas, and Sweet has a song on the soundtrack. So I like that Sweet kind of stuff, because I don't want to hear Love Hurts, and I don't want to hear Rock and Roll All Night anymore. I like the other stuff, right? And I love Stranglehold by Nugent, and I don't like Nugent as a person. But and he's got another song. He's got a song on there,
like 2 songs, and then that's it, really. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, I like some of Nugent stuff.
We should just do an hour of Nugent and why we hate him.
Right. But then there's probably 6 or 7 songs I
like his music and don't really like him as a person.
Yeah,
I will say Stranglehold's the only song by him I like.
Wango Tango, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, Cat Scratch Fever, of course. No. Yeah,
I saw Ted Nugent and Lita Ford. It must have been like 1988, and it's one of the greatest concerts I've ever been to in my life. As a person, fuck him. I don't give 2 shits. Right. Musically, it was fucking amazing.
Tequila smashed. Are you?
Yes. Oh, I'm loaded.
By the way, if there's anybody like a wine company or a bourbon company or a whiskey company just wants to send us something,
I love bourbon. I love bourbon.
We'll promote and drink your shit like nobody's business.
Josh, if you're watching, Josh,
I don't know about promote, but I'll drink
Josh. My wife loves Josh.
I mean, for $13,
Buffalo Trace every 3rd sentence. Encino Man, Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, Georgia Bay. I'll drink your stuff all night.
I love listening to Encino Man while having my Buffalo Trace.
Exactly.
There's nothing I like more on a Friday night to come home from curling and sit down on the couch with a bottle of Josh and watch That Thing You Do.
I'll tell you.
Come on, kids.
After a good payday,
watch this movie.
Grab your bottles.
Right, after a good payday, getting some cocaine and hookers, I love to wash it down with some Buffalo Trace.
Right. I can't wait to get cocaine and hookers and put Gross Point Blank on.
Litchfield, Minnesota money.
Right. And piss Joe off with some Ted Nugent.
Right. Or some Dawkins.
I got to be honest, there's way more cocaine references than I expected there to be, for sure. Way more.
Have you guys seen their show? Okay, all they talk about is cocaine.
Wait, isn't
the
it?
irony? I've never taken a drug in my life. I don't do drugs. I'm anti-drug, but it's fucking hilarious.
There was that one time, Jimmy.
Me too.
At band
One
camp.
time.
There was a,
one
you
time.
had
at
that
band camp.
Lying son of a bitch.
one
Me too.
time.
Let's just erase what I said about Days Confused. If that
One
shit
time,
was
Jimmy
admissible,
smoked a joint with me. One time.
I remember hot boxing your car in your parents'
that
driveway.
shit's
one
legal
time.
here now. It wasn't
Wait, Chris, who did you hotbox?
Carl.
I
What'd
remember
you do,
at going to
Carl?
Dink, we were at Dink's parents' place. We pulled into the driveway, and he goes, "What you?" We smoked one, and before he went inside, like, let's just see what's on the radio. And didn't fucking Metallica come on the radio?
Enter
or something?
Sandman came on, and it was
Yeah,
before you
me,
were really,
Kevin,
really sick of it.
fucking-
Oh.
yeah.
Cranked it up. I'm like, we're
All
not
right.
leaving the car until the song's over.
All right, we're derailing. I think you have some.
Yeah, we are
honorable
derailing.
mentions
Okay,
already.
number 2. We can get it back on track here. Number 2.
Oh, number 2. Shit. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because Forrest Gump, Days Confused. Number 2, I dropped today. Mr. Locked In actually changed his list and knocked Singles out of the number 1 spot and put it at 2. I actually looked at my list and thought, I like Last Action Hero more than Singles. It's time to make the move. So Last
look at
Action
that.
Hero is
A
number
double
1.
drop.
Singles
Wow.
is number 2.
The
First
list master
time-
Flash has changed his list.
We've
This
all
is-
said what we need to say about Singles. Last Action Hero, the only thing that you missed while mentioning it, because you did a great job, is the Poison song by Anthrax. It is
London.
a wicked track. It should have been on Sound the White Noise. It is not on Spotify. It's a big fail by them because the rest of the soundtrack is. I don't know why they don't have the rights to that song. I love that track. And that's pretty much it. Everything else you said about Last Action Hero, minus the film being a complete bag of fucking
on
garbage.
that note, if you're gonna have a band cover a song, you're in good hands if you have Anthrax do it. Just gonna say.
Yeah.
They do so many different. I don't care what singer they're using either. They
True.
can cover any song and it sounds
Right.
so goddamn good.
So going back to like the when we were talking about Thunderstruck in the last episode, the other song we used to always warm up to was Anthrax and Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring the noise.
Yeah.
That was unreal. That was such a good cover.
And that brought two bands I love together was Public Enemy and Anthrax. I'm like, oh my god, my mind was blown.
Yeah. I love when they mix like genres like that.
And
that's
Def
great.
Leppard is also on the Last Action Hero. I don't know if you brought that up with 2 steps behind, but I'm 2 steps behind you anyway. So
It's fine.
I can
it's like
never
stalker
listen.
songs, right? You could have Every Breath You Take, 2 steps
Yeah.
behind.
I like Def Leppard, but if I never heard 2 Steps Behind again, I'd be okay.
It's still better than freaking.
Well, walk away if you want to.
Let's
then.
get rocked.
Oh,
Let's get the
think
rock
I
out of
will.
here.
it's another hit and run.
It's it certainly is. That was gold. All right. And my honorable mention has also been brought up. So you guys got a lot of mine, and it is The Crow.
Nice.
So
Nice.
awesome, right? And as the host, I'll rattle off a bunch that just quickly that we didn't mention that were on my radar. Of course, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
are solid soundtracks.
Urge Overkill.
Yes,
Yes.
I did have Judgment Night, so that's covered. Train Spotting.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was on my short list. Yep.
I like rap, so I had Above the Rim on my short list. That's the song that gives you regulators.
Yeah.
And if you
Is
guys
that
don't
Warren
like
G?
rap, you don't know what I'm talking
Actually, I didn't know that.
about. Airheads, Warren
Oh,
G.
yeah.
I was gonna. Airheads was number 5 on my list. White
Airheads
Zombie,
is a great
Anthrax,
soundtrack, great
Autobots,
movie, really.
Wrong, Ramones. Yeah.
Ozzy and Lemmy, Pump Up the Volume, 1990, just starts in. Is
Oh my
pretty
god!
good
I didn't even
soundtrack.
think of that. Oh my god!
Yeah. Yeah. That was
So it was
I
on
am
my
so
short
great,
list.
great movie. Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I'm so
Um,
disappointed in myself. in that one.
Another rap-filled one is Juice. And finally, as laughingly, because it was a hit, I had The Bodyguard. which is all Whitney, right?
That kept on coming up on my list. I kept on knocking it down. I think just more of the popularity of it, probably, but it was always showing up on my lists.
That's up there with Pretty Woman for me. You know what I mean? Like same kind of.
Yeah, I think you cut out there. Squirreling again.
Oh. I think you cut out.
Or maybe I cut out.
Well, there's a couple really cool things about The Bodyguard that I found in my research. I Will Always Love You, which is the lead song from that, is the best.
You're so sweet. I love you too, Jimmy.
What's that?
I said, you're so sweet. I love you too.
Yeah, I have a
best-selling single of all time, right?
Best-selling single by a female artist all time.
I was going to say, best single of all time is White Christmas.
Right.
And 1992, that it
just chilled the room.
Really? Right.
Fuck you and your Christmas shit.
Great. That doesn't go well with my notes.
That was months ago.
That doesn't work well at all.
By the way, our next show, everyone, you're going to be excited for is going to be best soundtracks of 1936.
I bet we'll have the same number one.
And then the episode after that is how we break down West Side Story.
And then the episode after that is why are these shows getting so long?
West Side Story. Trust us, it's not racist.
How drunk are they?
Right. Don't worry. The West Side Story episode will be 17 hours long.
When you're a jet, you're a jet.
Well, hey, Dink, I think you should wrap this up, brother.
Yeah, we better get my closing notes. Final words. But seriously, you can find us like before and every other show. You can find us everywhere. On our Facebook page, on Instagram, on YouTube, and all the other platforms that you find your favorite podcasts. If you are just listeners, we are every week now. Yes, we're on Big Sky and or Blue Sky, Big Sky. Yeah, that's a great show.
As
Blue Ski.
As Just Rank Pod or Just Pod if you're Just
Pod.
Just Rank Pod.
Just Rank Pod.
It was all the way back to week one, you fuckers.
You fuckers. Yeah, I think that's it, right? Like, I can't think of anything else. Hit like, hit subscribe, Run our backs.
Please. And I know last week I mentioned Spain and Argentina. Please keep listening and watching Spain and Argentina because you will take over America and Canada soon. Just tell your friends and keep listening.
That's right.
And trust us, you have a good chance because Canada's like 4 people that live there, so you're good. You can do this.
We're trying to stop all the Americans from coming over.
Yeah, hey, go fuck yourself.
Dude, you said you had a room for me.
What the fuck was that? Canada's like 4 people. Go, well, all right.
Oh, that was perfect. Oh, fuck.
Oh, my God, that was awesome. All right,
just let us know,
thank you.
Let's let you know we all love you. We love you all. But as in the immortal words of Donald Fagen,
yeah, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
What they said.
What they said.